The young and the restless spoilers. For years, the people of Genoa had believed that Alan was nothing more than a tragic casualty of a dangerous past, a myth, a ghost who had left behind nothing but painful memories. But beneath the surface of deception and mystery lay a truth too explosive to be ignored: Alan was very much alive. This revelation, long prophesied by those who had dared to doubt the official narrative, was set to change everything. The twist began when Martin, Alan's younger brother, cunningly stepped into the void left by the supposed demise of Alan. Martin, with his sly grin and ambiguous intentions, assumed the role of Alan's elder sibling. He used this guise to infiltrate the very heart of Genoa, sowing chaos and betrayal wherever he went. Yet, as his sinister plans unraveled, the narrative grew darker and more complex than anyone could have anticipated. Martin's scheme was elaborate. He had orchestrated events to make it appear as if Alan had truly perished, thus clearing the way for him to take over the mantle of responsibility. In his twisted mind, impersonating his own brother would grant him unchallenged power, a ticket to manipulate the elite circles of Genoa without the interference of the man who was once adored by so many. His devious charade, however, was not rooted in a desire to eliminate his brother entirely. Martin's ambition was driven by envy and a deep-seated need to fill a void he felt since childhood, a void that only the legendary Alan seemed to effortlessly occupy. Contrary to what the public believed, Alan was not a fading memory. He was, in fact, very much alive and more determined than ever to protect those he loved. His heart belonged to Tracy, a love so profound that no deceit or danger could ever drive him away. Alan's devotion to Tracy was not merely a subplot in his life story, it was the central pillar that sustained him through his darkest hours. While Genoa's corridors whispered rumors of his demise, Tracy had held on to hope with unwavering conviction. Her intuition had always told her that Alan was alive, and as the layers of Martin's deceit began to peel away, her belief grew stronger. In a dramatic turn of events, the confrontation between the two brothers loomed on the horizon like an impending storm. Alan's return was not a quiet comeback, it was an explosion of emotion, passion, and the raw intensity of familial conflict. The tension between them was palpable, every interaction laced with years of unspoken grievances and buried secrets. Martin, despite his cold, calculated exterior, was far from being a heartless villain. He had never been capable of a truly irredeemable act, such as murdering his own blood. The notion of killing Alan, the person who had once been a guiding figure in his life, was anathema to his nature. Instead, his actions were driven by a desire for recognition and control, a misguided attempt to fill the void of his own inadequacies. As the narrative unfolded, it became clear that every move Martin made was leading him closer to an inevitable confrontation. His machinations, though seemingly ruthless, were gradually exposing a vulnerability, a longing for validation from a man he had always felt overshadowed by. The dynamic between the two was complex. It was not simply a battle of good versus evil, but a tragic interplay of love, jealousy, and the desperate need for familial connection. When the moment of reckoning finally arrived, the streets of Genoa transformed into a stage for this epic showdown. The city, once a playground for Martin's covert operations, was now witness to the dramatic reunion of brothers whose destinies were inextricably intertwined. Alan, emerging from the shadows, carried with him the weight of truth and the promise of redemption. His return was timely and powerful, a testament to the indomitable spirit of love and loyalty. The evidence of his survival had been hinted at months earlier when careful observers noticed inconsistencies in the public records and media reports. No photographic evidence had ever definitively shown Alan's death, instead, subtle clues had hinted at his continued existence, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. Tracy, whose heart had never wavered in its faith, now found herself at the center of a grand drama. Her unwavering trust in Alan had been vindicated, and her determination to see justice served was unyielding. In her eyes, Martin's betrayal was unforgivable, a treachery that went beyond personal ambition. She believed that anyone who would manipulate the truth and risk the lives of those they claimed to love deserved nothing less than the full measure of retribution. Her resolve was clear: Martin, the impostor, was destined to face the consequences of his actions. His ambitions had not only endangered the fragile peace of Genoa but had also shattered the sanctity of familial bonds. In the ensuing battle of wills, Alan's presence became a beacon of hope and integrity. With every step he took, he began to dismantle the web of lies that Martin had so carefully spun. His first act was to protect Tracy, shielding her from the fallout of Martin's scheming. In a series of electrifying encounters, the brothers clashed not only with fists and words but with the weight of a shared past that was now irreparably fractured. Their struggle was emblematic of the eternal conflict between truth and deception, with every moment charged with the possibility of reconciliation or irreversible loss. The narrative took on an even more intriguing twist when it was revealed that Martin's actions, while undeniably harmful, were also a cry for attention, a desperate attempt to claim the identity he felt was rightfully his. Yet, the moral lines were blurred. Martin was not a villain in the traditional sense. His choices, though misguided, stemmed from a deep-seated fear of inadequacy and the haunting shadow of a brother whose legacy loomed large. This complexity made the showdown between him and Alan all the more compelling. It was not merely about stopping a schemer, it was about healing a family torn apart by secrets and lies. The climax of this saga unfolded in a moment of breathtaking clarity. Alan confronted Martin in a dramatic face-to-face encounter that encapsulated years of pent-up emotion. With the city as their silent witness, the confrontation was as much an emotional catharsis as it was a battle of ideals. Alan's words were laced with sorrow and a firm resolve. He denounced Martin's actions and vowed to protect the people he cherished, particularly Tracy, from any further harm. In that charged atmosphere, it became evident that while Martin might have strayed far from the path of righteousness, his potential for redemption still flickered beneath the surface. Tracy's role in this unfolding drama was pivotal. Her unwavering faith in Alan served as a catalyst for his return and a rallying cry for justice. She stood as a testament to the power of hope and resilience, a reminder that sometimes, even in the darkest of times, truth has a way of emerging victorious. Her fierce determination to see Martin held accountable was matched only by her profound love for Alan, a love that was unyielding and pure. In her eyes, the betrayal was unforgivable, and the man who had dared to usurp Alan's identity deserved nothing less than the full weight of the law. As the dust settled on the dramatic events that had rocked Genoa, the lessons were clear. The boundaries between right and wrong had blurred, and the human heart had revealed its most complex and enigmatic nature. Alan's return was not just a personal triumph, it was a symbol of truth's resilience in the face of deceit. Meanwhile, Martin's downfall was a cautionary tale. A reminder that the pursuit of power at the expense of truth inevitably leads to ruin. The saga of the two brothers, marked by love, betrayal, and an unyielding quest for identity, had reached a turning point. With Alan reclaiming his rightful place and protecting those he loved, Genoa was poised on the brink of a new era, one where truth would shine brighter than ever before, and the bonds of family, however fraught with conflict, could ultimately be mended. In the end, the dramatic confrontation between Alan and Martin was not just a battle of two conflicting ambitions, it was an exploration of what it means to be truly human. It was about the struggle to overcome past mistakes, the courage to face one's own demons, and the realization that even in the midst of betrayal, love and loyalty could pave the way for redemption. The story of Genoa, with its intricate tapestry of secrets and revelations, served as a powerful reminder. Sometimes, the most compelling battles are fought within the heart, where the stakes are nothing less than the soul itself. In the dark corridors of Genoa, secrets and schemes had become as common as the city's ceaseless hum. Martin, always the cunning manipulator, had long been plotting the perfect crime, one that would forever erase his twin sins. Confident in his ability to outmaneuver everyone, he had meticulously anticipated every possible twist. Yet nothing could have prepared him for the unexpected swiftness with which fate intervened. Martin's original plan had been both diabolical and audacious. He intended to eliminate Phyllis and Sharon, two pivotal, albeit secondary, characters in this elaborate drama, and pin the blame squarely on Alan. For Martin, who had long resented his brother's unwavering love and dedication, this was the ultimate act of betrayal. By orchestrating their murders and framing Alan for the heinous acts, Martin aimed to sever the ties of trust and affection that bound Alan to the community of Genoa. With Alan discredited and removed from the picture, Martin envisioned a life where he could continue masquerading as his own persona, a man whose true self was hidden behind layers of deceit and ambition. However, in a twist that no one, least of all Martin, could have foreseen, Phyllis and Sharon were rescued with remarkable speed. Their unexpected salvation sent shockwaves through Martin's carefully constructed plan. Every piece of his puzzle began to crumble as the evidence pointed elsewhere. The rapid intervention that saved Phyllis and Sharon not only spared their lives but also disrupted Martin's narrative, exposing his own malicious intent to those who had long suspected something was amiss. In the aftermath of this debacle, the authorities closed in. With mounting evidence of his misdeeds, Martin found himself staring into the abyss of punishment. The world he had built on lies and manipulation was collapsing around him, and there was no longer any escape. Now facing inevitable incarceration, Martin's once cocky demeanor was replaced with desperation and regret. In a final, desperate bid to atone, or at least secure a shred of his fading dignity, he approached his brother Alan and the woman Alan loved, Tracy. In a dimly lit holding area before the courtroom, Martin fell to his knees. His voice trembled with a mix of fear and genuine remorse as he pleaded with them, "Please, Alan, Tracy, I beg you, show mercy. Let me leave Genoa immediately. I promise I will never come back, and I'll never, ever sabotage anyone's life again." His words echoed in the silence, carrying the weight of a lifetime of misjudged decisions and shattered dreams. Martin's appeal was not born solely out of self-preservation, it was a desperate acknowledgement of the irreversible harm he had caused. Alan and Tracy, still reeling from the emotional roller coaster that had just unfolded, found themselves locked in a silent, heartfelt embrace. Their bodies spoke of shared pain, lingering betrayal, and the bittersweet taste of hope that perhaps, against all odds, forgiveness might be within reach. Yet, in that tender moment, a pressing question loomed large: could they possibly extend mercy to a man who had wrought so much chaos and heartbreak? The dilemma tore at their hearts. On one hand, Martin's plea stirred a deep-seated part of Alan that remembered the brother he once knew, a brother whose motives, however misguided, had been rooted in a desperate need for identity and belonging. On the other hand, Tracy's fierce loyalty to the truth and her unwavering commitment to protecting the ones she loved demanded retribution. She recalled all the schemes, all the betrayals, and the pain that Martin's actions had inflicted on those who believed in the sanctity of family and loyalty. Over the following days, as the city of Genoa braced itself for the impending trial, Alan and Tracy retreated into a quiet space to deliberate their next steps. They sought solace in each other's company, their conversations turning over and over the idea of redemption versus justice. The decision was not simple. It was fraught with moral quandaries. Could a man, who had so thoroughly betrayed the trust of his loved ones, ever be forgiven? And what of the potential danger he posed, even behind bars? Would sparing him any further harm inadvertently encourage future transgressions? Their discussions were long and laden with emotion. Alan's voice was heavy with the memories of a time when the bond between brothers was unbreakable, when Martin was not a schemer but a companion in their shared journey of life. He remembered the laughter they had once shared, the dreams they had spun together on long summer nights. Yet, the shadows of Martin's actions had grown too long to ignore. Every cruel maneuver, every lie, had chipped away at the foundation of that brotherly love. Tracy, with her innate strength and unwavering moral compass, argued that justice must be served. "Alan," she said softly during one of their midnight conversations, "if we forgive him without ensuring that he faces the consequences, aren't we just opening the door for more betrayal? He's already hurt so many. How can we risk that again?" Her eyes, usually so full of warmth and compassion, shone with a steely resolve. Mercy is a beautiful thing, but so is accountability. How do we balance that? Alan, torn between the echoes of his past and the demands of the present, found himself at a crossroads. He had always believed in the possibility of redemption, even for those who had strayed into darkness. Yet, the scars left by Martin's treachery were still fresh, and the thought of letting him go free, of trusting that his repentance was genuine, filled him with uncertainty. Maybe, he whispered, if we can be sure that he's truly remorseful, that he's ready to leave his old life behind, then perhaps we can consider giving him a chance. But only under strict conditions. He must understand that his actions have consequences, and he must accept that he'll be confined until he has proven that he can live without causing further harm. The debate between them continued until the sun began to rise, casting a pale light on the room where their hopes and doubts intermingled. In the end, they agreed on a path that balanced justice with a hint of compassion. Martin would face the full extent of the law, a stern punishment befitting his crimes, but they would also extend a measured offer of clemency if he demonstrated genuine transformation. It was a decision that left little room for error. Martin's release from Genoa, if ever it were to happen, would be conditional on his unwavering commitment to change, ensuring that his presence would no longer cast a shadow over the lives of those he had once sought to destroy. As Martin was led away in handcuffs, the weight of his crimes and the magnitude of his downfall were palpable. The courthouse steps became a symbolic threshold, marking the end of an era of manipulation and deceit. For the citizens of Genoa, the trial was more than just a legal proceeding, it was a catharsis, a moment of reckoning that restored faith in truth and justice. In the public eye, Martin's punishment was not merely retribution, it was a clear message that betrayal and manipulation, no matter how cunningly executed, would always meet with consequences. Back in their quiet sanctuary, Alan and Tracy clung to each other. Their embrace was not just a moment of comfort, but a silent promise to safeguard the future against the recurring shadows of the past. The road ahead was uncertain, riddled with challenges and moral ambiguities. Yet, in that fragile moment of unity, they resolved to work together, to heal the wounds inflicted by treachery and to rebuild the bonds of trust and love that had been so brutally tested. The saga of Genoa was far from over. In the ensuing days, the city buzzed with discussions, debates, and reflections on justice, forgiveness, and the nature of redemption. Alan, now more than ever, emerged as a beacon of hope and integrity, a man determined to ensure that truth, no matter how elusive, would ultimately prevail. And Tracy, with her heart full of compassion and resolve, stood by him, ready to guide him through the tumultuous path of healing. For those who had witnessed the dark machinations of Martin, his downfall served as a powerful reminder: no one, regardless of how deeply they might sink into treachery, is beyond the reach of justice. Yet, the possibility of redemption, of turning a life around, remained a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. In the end, the story of Martin, Alan, and Tracy was one of contrasts. The eternal battle between darkness and light, between betrayal and forgiveness, and the relentless hope that even in the face of overwhelming adversity, love and truth could forge a path to redemption. Thus, as Genoa slowly began to heal from the wounds of deceit, Alan and Tracy found solace not only in each other's arms but in the belief that every soul, no matter how lost, could one day find its way back to the light. Their hearts, though scarred by past betrayals, remained open to the possibility of forgiveness, a possibility that would forever be tempered by the hard lessons learned from the fall of Martin, the man who had once sought to destroy everything but had, in the end, forced those around him to rediscover the true value of love, trust, and redemption. This narrative not only delves into Martin's elaborate plan and its catastrophic fallout but also captures the internal conflict of Alan and Tracy as they navigate the murky waters of justice and forgiveness, leaving readers to ponder the complexities of the human heart and the enduring power of redemption.